Welcome to another edition of The Way I See It with your host, Ralph Williams. And now, without further ado, Ralph Williams.
And good evening and welcome to another edition of The Way I See It. We're here live in the DJ Fun Studios, and it's great to be here tonight. And we're back to Monday night as well. Don't forget we were off for one or two Monday nights because we had some issues with, we had to rearrange some of the stuff going on here with RW Media. We had to rearrange a few shows due to my nephew's passing. All right. Let's get started with our Chinese wisdom. A feather in the hand is better than the bird in the air. All right, and that is tonight's Chinese wisdom. And tonight, here at DJ Fun Studios, call DJ Fun today, 412-545-4317, party, wedding, and also special events DJ. Please don't forget to call DJ Fun today. With that number again, 412-545-4317. DJ Fun was telling me he's quite surprised that his phone hasn't been burning up. I'm sure a lot of you out there need DJs for graduations, weddings, also special birthday parties, things coming up. And not to worry, because DJ Fun's prices are very, very affordable. So remember, give him a call today, 412-545-4317. Also, tonight, we have a new sponsor for all RW Media programs at Hillcrest Farms in Richmond, Ohio. Hillcrest Farm is a freezer beef company. They locally own and they raise and process their beef fresh on the farm, right from the cow. Okay. Visit their website, and they also have a Facebook page, Hillcrest Farms at Richmond, Ohio. So don't forget to visit their website. And also, I have for you the website address, which is Hillcrest Farms, Ohio, at gmail.com. So visit their, and also, that's their email address, but you can check their website out at www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com. And also you can contact by phone, 740-346-5442 or 740-632-2894. We welcome Hillcrest Farms as our new sponsor to the show here on The Way I See It. Go out and get yourself some fresh beef. I'm talking about not that stuff that they put coloring in, not that stuff that comes from these cheap cheap places. I'm talking about great beef. All right. I was there today. I was there this weekend. We'll talk about it later. I have some myself. So if I have it, then you should get it as well. I tell you what, they have some great beef there. Brisket, all kinds of ground meat. Let me tell you what, they have a special, 20 pounds of ground meat for $95. That's less than $5 a pound. So go out and get it. It's in Richmond, Ohio, which is 45 minutes from Pittsburgh. And if you live in the western sector of Pittsburgh, it's right up the hill from Steubenville, Ohio, Richmond, Ohio. Go out to Hillcrest Farms today. And their number again, 740-346-5442 or 740-632-2894. Also, you can email them at hillcrestfarmsohio.gmail@gmail.com or check out their website, www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com. And they also have a Facebook page. And that is our new sponsor for all of our programs here on our four live platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. That is Hillcrest Farms of Richmond, Ohio. All right. Tonight, we have our blast segment. I don't have too much to do tonight, believe it or not, but I do have to blast the Pittsburgh Public School Board. They are taking social media sites and social media outlets they're filing a lawsuit. Okay, you know what, Pittsburgh Public Schools, you have issues in your schools. Kids aren't learning. Teachers don't want to work or don't want to come and teach because the security system things going on there, okay? You have an incompetent board, and I've seen your board meetings. And again, I'll reiterate to all of you, I have watched Pittsburgh Public School board meetings on Channel 21 PCTV Comcast Channel 47, Verizon Cable, and PCTV. I have seen the school board meetings. Let me tell you something, okay? This school board's not very good, all right? I was going to run for school board, but I found out something very interesting, that a school that I don't think I could even try to fix can be fixed is in my school district or in my area, and I said, no way, I'm not doing it, okay? Because I feel that if I can't make a difference at that school, then why should I worry about trying to make a difference at all with all the schools, okay? And I was going to run because the guy that's here in my area here that's on the Pittsburgh Public School Board is not running again, all right? So I was planning on doing that, and I decided, well, you know what, I'm not going to do it now because of the fact that I figured, why should I run? Because it happens to be one of the disciplinary schools that is having all these big problems, which I don't understand why they're so hard to fix, okay? Pittsburgh Public Schools has been a major problem for many years, and that's why I'm blasting you tonight, because you're going to sit there and you're going to sue social media sites saying that they're the cause of some of these problems with these kids. Yeah, they are. But how about the parents? When are we going to stop Pittsburgh Public Schools, City Council, Pittsburgh, the mayor's office, everybody? When are we going to start going after these parents? That is where the problem is. Number one right there, everyone. That is where the problem is, and that's why I'm blasting Pittsburgh Public Schools tonight. That is the way I see it. Dollar General store. Not here in Pittsburgh, but there was a Dollar General store somewhere in New Jersey who decided to put their employees through decrepit conditions. You know what? Shame on you, Dollar General. And you know what's funny? Dollar Generals are everywhere now. You go into this little small town, okay, and there's a Dollar General. You go into the town next to it, there's a Dollar General. The town next to it, there's a Dollar General. They're everywhere now, okay? And now Dollar General's having problems keeping up with them to the extent to where now they're letting their stores get out of control, okay? And they're not doing anything about it to help the situation. That's why I'm blasting you tonight, Dollar General, because shame on you to put employees through decrepit conditions at this New Jersey store. And here in Pittsburgh as well, there's been a few of them that have been cited for all different types of stuff. Dollar General, that's the way I see it. Next, the people who either blow people off by either not returning your phone call or not returning your email. Don't you get tired of that? Isn't that sad? Well, you know what? It keeps going on, and I'm blasting you tonight. You. I'm having problems with people not returning my emails and my phone calls. Okay? If you don't want to do business with me for my shows, then call me and tell me. Or email me and say, hey, Ralph, I'm not interested. Okay? If you don't want to give me a job, if you don't want anything to deal with me, if you don't want to be on my show, if there's something with me that you don't like, then all I'm asking you to do is to email me or call me and say, hey, Ralph, you know what? I'm really not interested. And you know what? I will have no issues with that. What I have issues with is when you don't get back to me. And that's when I get ignorant like I am right now. Shame on you folks for continually doing this, because this is not right. And that is the way I see it tonight. All right, next, our Bonehead segment. And you know how that goes. We always have some great things going on with that. All right, the teenagers who were arrested for terrorism in Mars, PA. Really? Here we are. Another teenagers at it again, doing something, and the parents aren't doing anything about it. And their kids are involved in terrorism, and they caused some terrorism in the Mars area, in the Mars area school district. The woman who spits on a corrections officer after she was arrested for spitting on a state trooper. You know what? I really don't know what to say about that. That's the way I see it with that one. All right, our next bonehead. All right, the woman accused of sending for a 14-year-old nude pics on Snapchat. Wonderful, isn't it? All right, our next bonehead. We got quite a few tonight. Spirit Airlines flight attendant who picked up the mic and said, "We do not have blankets for you. If we did, we wouldn't be Spirit Airlines." Also, a Southwest passenger who decided to put his hands on a flight attendant because he could not get a drink on the flight. Now, this is starting to happen at these airports now, everyone. You want to know why? Because people are coming and they're getting on flights and they're getting drunk. And when they get drunk, and they get out of hand, they get out of control, and they cause everyone else all kinds of problems. Yeah, that's right. So now some of these airlines and some of these airports are starting to put a stop to it. And now they're limiting them that they smell like booze, or they smell like a brewery or a distillery or a brewery or whatever they smell like. Okay. And it's not applicable for them to get a drink. The airlines are not allowed. They don't have to give them a drink. All right. The man who waits 10 days at the airport for a woman who stood him up. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, when I heard that, I have to laugh. That's hilarious. All right, that is our boneheaded segment for tonight. And we're here at the DJ Fun Studios here. Also, don't forget about our new sponsor, Freezer Beef from Hillcrest Farms. Hillcrest Farms up in Richmond, Ohio, is our new sponsor for the program here on The Way I See It. Life story. This past week, I was a little bit busy. I had a lot going on Thursday. I was out with, actually, we're going to start it off with Tuesday. Last Tuesday was the funeral for my nephew, Sean Negley Jr., who tonight's show is also dedicated to, and we're probably going to dedicate a few more shows to him as well. Those of you who have been watching my program and have been following me, which I appreciate it, I spent some time down in Youngstown, Ohio to begin in March. And what had happened was my nephew, Sean Negley Jr., was involved in a car accident. It was a rollover crash. He was with four other of his buddies. I got to meet them at the funeral. And it was sad to see the looks on their faces because my nephew was one heck of a person. And this is pretty good that my nephew was this nice of a teenager to where his teachers showed up for the trade school he was going to. His old boss, the pizza shop, showed up. Yeah. Okay. My nephew was just getting ready to get a job started at Apple Store out in South Hills Village. It was pretty sad that he wasn't able to get to that far. He had quit his pizza job working nearby his home. Okay. All right. I was at the funeral. It was from 2 to 8 in Lawrenceville. And then right afterwards, we had a dinner. It was pretty nice. It was a nice little setup, nice dinner. So we had that going on. Then Thursday, I was busy. I had to sleep in all day on Wednesday to sort of recover from some things. I moved our sports corner show, myself and Smoking Jim Frazier, to Wednesday because of the Tuesday funeral. And I canceled Talking Wrestling, which will be back on this week. We're back to full schedule this week as far as shows go. The only difference is time on Thursday, and the External Boom podcast from Friday has been moved to Saturday at noon. All right, so until otherwise noted. But anyway, so I had a doctor's appointment on Thursday of my own. I had to take my mom to a doctor's appointment. Then I had to go and I had to get my new diabetic shoes. Every year I get one pair. My insurance company pays for one pair of diabetic shoes, and I went and I got them, and they were great. It was super duper. Drove out to go pick them up. I had already ordered them, been fitted for them. Just had to go put them on and walk out with them. And that's what I did. So I go pick them up at the orthopedic place, and it was nice to do so. It's always nice to have a new pair of shoes a lot as well. So then I had on Thursday also we had our TV show, myself, Smoking Jim Frazier. We had a real nice cast on. It was the NFL draft show. It was nice. There was 4 of us or 5 of us all together. 4 of us in the studio, 1 by phone. was great to hear from some of my friends, Claudia Rosano and a few other guys who called in. Ray Fittipaldo was on by phone. We had Keith Platt, who has a show on PCTV. Luther Dupree, myself, and Smoking Jim Frazier. It was a great show. We talked about who the Steelers are going to draft, the NFL draft, the whole 9 yards. It was a nice 60 minutes. We even had some calls as well, which was great. Coming up real soon, April 25th, it's a Tuesday, will be the next NFL draft show right here on our 4 platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. And we're going to have the same cast on, except we're going to have Joe Kuglis at it, Ray Fittipaldo, Luther Dupree, Smoking Jim Frazier, and Keith Platt will also be on as well. But this time it's going to be on the Sports Corner podcast edition, and it's going to be a good 90-minute show from 8:30 till about 10 o'clock. And I'm working on getting a national guest on to see if we can add that to the fray. What an extravaganza we're going to have for that. That's coming up April 25th. All right. So I decided, and I normally don't do it this way, but I listen to my competition. All right. There's a few guys who, outside of my box of media friends, and I have some media friends here, so a box of them, guys that I associate with, that we're friends. We share each other's shows. We're on each other's programs. We share each other's wisdom and things like that. We help each other out any way we can. I've become good friends with some of them. So I was listening to my competition, one of the so-called radio stations in this town who will not give me a job or have my show on their network or on their station for some obvious reason. I don't know why. And Rich Fitzgerald was on, and this was on Thursday. So I decided, you know what? I think I'm going to give it a shot. I called in. And I asked Rich Fitzgerald this common question, and that was, what's going on with Schumann Center? Now, in case you're not aware, the county keeps passing the buck about it's the state. The state keeps saying it's the county. The county keeps saying it's the city. The city keeps saying it's the county, it's the state, it's whomever. Okay? And what do we have now? We have no Schumann Center. We have no place to put youth. The judges are putting these kids on home detention. Now, we all know where home detention goes, don't you? Home detention, kids get to sit home, play on their Xbox, eat gourmet food, and and all that other stuff, and get to sit at home and have the luxuries of home. Maybe if they live with mother or dad, and mother and dad can cook, they have that luxury. Okay? All right? So that's home detention, which I feel we shouldn't do with some of these more violent juveniles. So I asked Rich Fitzgerald, I says, well, I understand, and this is the truth, that they've hired a consulting firm, which is a waste of tax dollars here. All right. Rich Fitzgerald sits and he talks about how much he wants to save this county in taxes, but then goes out and hires a consulting firm to see if there's a firm to do a feasible study here. All right. This is what I'm saying here now. A feasible study in regards to the fact that, okay, is Schumann Center viable? So I said, well, Rich, I says, what are you doing? Why are you, doing this? And I don't you think that's a waste of time and money? Don't you think we should be using our time and our money more to try to open up the facility? Well, he started reading me sort of a riot act, kind of like, well, I have to go through this hoop, and I got to go through that hoop, and I got to go through the state, and the state's got to do this, everything down to the meals being cooked. We got to make sure everything's right. We got to make sure we got the right people in there. We got to hire people. We got to clean the place up. He went through all this to explain to me because I basically called him to the carpet. I really did. I said, why are we wasting money on doing a feasible study when we should be doing more of a work on trying to open the place up? And then he blames it on the judges. He says, well, the judges really, they sometimes won't sentence them they sentence them to home detention. Okay, if you're the one who's sitting there and telling these judges or saying to these judges that home detention is the way to go, then you need to step down now as county executive. Okay? And a lot of you, in case you don't know, there's a whole mess of people running for county executive. Rich Fitzgerald's last term is at the end of this year. So he's done. All right? Rich Fitzgerald is done. He's absorbed his 3 terms. You can only run for 3 terms for county executive in Allegheny County. All right? So here we are. All right? I asked him point blank. I came right out, and you know me, I come right out with a direct question, and that was the direct question. Why are we wasting time and wasting tax dollars on doing a feasibility study to find out if Schumann Center is even workable? Okay. Then I said to him, well, why are we not consulting with the state and opening up Western Penitentiary over in Brighton Heights? Oh, and I got some good news later on about that too. All right. He said to me, well, that hasn't been used in a long, long time. Well, before I could even get on to even say to him, well, do you know they used it for a show called The Mayor of Kingstown? So don't tell me it cannot be used. If it can be used for the Mayor of Kingstown, it can be used for juveniles. Okay? And they even used half of it or part of the jail for their juvenile detention center in the show. So I don't want to hear any more excuses about this with this thing. And that's part of my life story this week, because I had the privilege of being able to speak with him on one of my competitors' shows in regards to the fact that, this is what's going on with Schumann Center. Well, we have to have this study, Ralph, because we need to find out whether or not we could even use the original Schumann Center building. We may have to go somewhere else. No. Really, Rich? Is that so? Well, why don't I see anyone stepping this up? We're all sitting here complaining about all this violence. And then you have all these pundits out there, and you have all these people out there, once again, going on and on and on about these programs that aren't going to work. But everyone thinks Ralph is a psycho. Everyone thinks my ideas are what they call a little extreme. Really? My ideas are extreme? My idea to bring the National Guard in here, to bring in the sheriff's gang's task force, get the FBI gang task force in here, the federals, the feds, the DEA. Oh, that's a little excessive, Ralph. We can't do that. No, we might hurt somebody's feelings. Okay? This is where we are, not just here. This is where we are across our country right now. We're too worried about who we're going to offend. We're too worried about who we're going to beat up. And we're too worried about if there's going to be a riot or a protest. Okay? No one can accept things for what they are. Let the police do their job. Police are here to do their job. And if you're the kind of person who, and I'm sure maybe you are, that is always in trouble with the law, then I can understand why you don't like the police. But don't go shooting at them. Don't go trying to go after their families. Don't try to make things worse for them because you're a dummy. All right? And that's exactly what it is. You're a dummy. You're somebody who would do this to the police rather than working with the police, rather than trying to do things right. You're the one that's going to go out there and cause all these problems. Okay? Now, we have a lot of key topics to talk about tonight. And one of them is, I can't understand how in the world Portland, Oregon supported Monday Night Raw last week, but 27 Walmart stores have closed up. All of the Walmart stores in Portland, Oregon have closed. Reports say it's because of theft. Well, Walmart now, in case a lot of you don't know, own the Denver Broncos. I'm hearing stories now Walmart's panicking. They bought the Denver Broncos, and now they're, I wouldn't say short on money, but they spend so much money for it that they're cutting stuff back in other ways. Okay. Last week on this program, I blasted Bob Nutting. And I should have blasted him again tonight because guess what? He's giving his ushers a raise, but it's only a nickel. A nickel. I guess my blast did a little bit of something to Bob Nutting, but it didn't do a lot. And then once again, we have Bob Nutting. Again, in case a lot of you don't know who Bob Nutting is because you hide behind a rock or you hide under, in some, you put your head in the sand and you don't pull it out. Okay. Bob Nutting is the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Now, in case you don't know who the Pittsburgh Pirates are, they are a Major League Baseball team that hasn't been irrelevant for a while. So at the home opener, that was another story. Oh, Thursday, all they talked about Thursday was the home opener. The home opener. The home opener. Let me tell you something. The home opener was sold out. There wasn't a ticket to be had. Did you have to excessively talk about the home opener all day, all night, all morning on Thursday? All the news outlets in this town did nothing but talk about the home opener on Friday. Friday rolls around, we're talking about the home opener, the home opener, the home opener, the home opener. Oh, there's an explosion somewhere. Oh, breaking news, the home opener. Breaking news, the home opener, the home opener, the home opener. It sounded like a busted, broken record, the home opener. And I've told many people many times, including some of my friends, media friends, you will not see me at a Pirate game unless somebody pays for it. I refuse to spend my hard-earned money to a guy who owns a team. The guy, his name is Bob Nutting, who owns this baseball team and continues to lie. And continues not to tell stories, and he's back at it again. Oh, I gave the money to my management team to sign Andrew McCutcheon. So guess what now? That gives me the right now that I could come back on TV again and say we have the appropriate people to win a championship. Once again, that's a lie, Bob. And I should have blasted you again tonight for that, too. If you're not going to say something truthful, stay off the air. I think it would do everyone a whole lot of good. You did it for the last 3 years, and I wish you would have continued to do it. Every time we sign all these free agents and bring in all these players, Bob Nutting has to come out and show his face and tell stories. Oh, I think we're building for a championship. Where have you been, Bob? Okay? Worry about paying your ushers, who you gave a nickel and out. You want to give a nickel and hour raise, and then to them, and I don't blame their union. That's unacceptable. And to me, that's unacceptable. I was an usher once at Heinz Field. You know what we got for 5 years? Quarter, nickel, 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 nickel. They wanted to charge us $200 to park our car for a whole season for football, for both Pitt and Steeler football. $200 for a season to park our car. Our food, $10 a month allowance. I would rather them give us no raise for 5 years and let us have free food and free parking, wouldn't you? I don't need your nickel, and I don't need your quarter. Okay? And if you think that everybody tips out there when you wipe their seat down, they don't. Because they spend so much money, they're not going to tip. Okay? All right? We have a bad economy. We have we have inflation. I don't understand how we have inflation with jobs out here. I could see if we had inflation like normal, and then inflation, there's no jobs. But there's jobs out here, and we're supposedly having inflation. We have a president who doesn't have a backbone to step up and say something to somebody, and to get on these banks and to get and find out why they're constantly going down the toilet when the second largest bank in the world, Silicon Valley Bank, goes down the drain. And 4 other banks in this area go down the drain. Literally. But here we are, where we are. Bob Nutting lies again. And you take it. And you go to his games. You spend money at the ballpark. You accept it. And why? I don't know. Oh, I love baseball. I love baseball too, but I don't like having a losing team all the time. Okay? If that's the way you live, then that means I could lie to you myself and you would believe me. Because you believe Bob Nutting, you believe me. Think about that once. Before you make a decision to go to another Pirate game, you take in what I'm saying tonight. Because we haven't heard from Bob Nutting in 3 years. And then all of a sudden, once again, we bring in all these free agents. And now Bob Nutting once again is back on TV and radio and media outlets going, we're going to win a championship again. We have the team to win a championship. Bob, stop lying. Because you're not pulling the whirlwind over on me. Maybe with all these other folks around here who either breathe bad air, smoke too much, drink too much, or play too much Xbox, or spend too much time on a cell phone, that they don't pay attention to what the reality of the world that goes on that's actually ripping them off. Okay? All right, tonight's The Way I See It is brought to you by our new sponsor, Hillcrest Farms of Richmond, Ohio. Grain, hay, beef. That's right. Real beef, not the beef you get fake-wise. And I want to tell you, I was up there. I went up to the farm on Saturday, and I visited with them up there. I visited with Taylor and Caitlin. They're husband and wife. They own the farm. Nice people. And I got myself 20 pounds of ground meat. And it's fresh, ground farm fresh ground beef. $95 for 20 pounds. You can't get that anywhere. If someone can tell me where they can get farm fresh ground beef for $95 for 20 pounds, I want to know where it is. And Richmond, Ohio is only 45 minutes away from Pittsburgh. It's right up the hill, not far from Steubenville. Take a ride out there to Hillcrest Farms. All right? Tell Caitlin and Taylor I sent you. Tell them you heard it right here on this program. They are our new sponsors here on The Way I See It. Hillcrest Farms, Richmond, Ohio. Visit today. You can visit their website. They're on Facebook. You can visit their website. You can also visit their you can also call them as well. 740-346-5442. Or you can also call 740-632-2894. You can email them at hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com. Or check out their website, www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com, and or on Facebook as well. Hillcrest Farms, Richmond, Ohio. Take a trip. Take a look at Hillcrest Farms. Because you will be pleased when you go up there. And the prices on their beef are so inexpensive, and it's made fresh, right from the farm. It doesn't come from 6 other places before you get it. Okay? Hillcrest Farms, Richmond, Ohio. Pay them a visit. Call them. Check them out on Facebook, email, or on their website. All right. So our key topics tonight: Norfolk Southern, another train derailment down here in Pittsburgh on West Carson Street. Nothing major. Do you trust Norfolk Southern? I don't. Do you trust Alan Shaw, who gets on and goes, oh, he says, we're this, we're that, we're for safety, we're this, we're that. Yeah, okay, here we are, another train derailment. Not as bad as East Palestine, but here we are. All right. Next, new city police chief, Brian Lee. All right. There's a report out that Mayor Gainey has 3 candidates for city police chief for the city of Pittsburgh. One is this Brian Lee from Boise, Idaho. Now, this guy, according to what the reports are saying, is supposed to be the new chief. Most likely. Jason Lando decided to come back and interview. And he is the police chief down in Maryland. Okay. And there's another former city police commander who didn't get chief or who never made it to assistant chief and was stuck in that commander mode for many years. He was at a department down in Florida and he resigned. Now, this Brian Lee, okay, from Boise, Idaho, and the guy from Florida, both have bad histories. Whether it was with this department or with the city of Pittsburgh. Now, Lando is a great commander. I've seen Lando. I've heard good stories about him. The union's pressing for him. The Citizens Review Board's pressing for him. But the city obviously is looking at the Brian Lee direction. But now, since the city, again, has some more egg on their face, which they do quite a lot of, in the city council, they've decided now to put the hiring on hold because they have to look more into this guy. Now, in case you don't know, places like Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh's notorious for this. Hiring these consulting firms, paying them hundreds, 200s, 300s, thousands of dollars to go out and look for candidates for different jobs. Pittsburgh Regional Transit did it a couple times. All right. In my tenure as the president of the Allegheny County Transit Council, as my tenure on the Transit Council and with Pittsburghers for Public Transit and with Save Our Transit, I've noticed throughout the years in my fighting for transit that they have basically have hired a few of them to go out and look for some candidates. Okay. In fact, I've even hauled them to the carpet on a couple of them. Why do we need to do this? All right. I personally do not want someone from Boise, Idaho, who has a bad record in this town. Now, what was happening here with Scott Schubert is going on there too, in Boise, Idaho. What's going on is we have bad morale, which is what was going on here and still is a little bit. Okay. All right. You have a police chief who's beating up people in training classes or abusing them or whatever because he's claiming that that's what originally happens. And whatever other else is going on with this guy. Lando, on the other hand, does not have a record of that kind. This other guy from Florida, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's got some kind of checkered past where he was at. He had to step down and resign. So I guess the city of Pittsburgh must want the same status quo instead of getting what Ed Gainey said, Ready Eddie, I'm calling him now. Since Ed Gainey is we're supposed to get different change of pace of a police chief. Looks to me like they're hiring the same kind of person. If that's the case, then why did you recommend Scott Schubert to be fired? He hired a committee for that. The committee said he should be fired. All right, you got other people out there, and you have many others, city councils the same way. You want somebody brand new, and it's been almost a year now since Scott Schubert has stepped away. And you mean to tell me it's taken this long to find a police chief that's going to work for you, but then you try to hire a guy who's done the same thing elsewhere that's going to cause problems here that we don't need. What do you think about this? You're a city of Pittsburgh resident. We're already short on police. We're just now starting to clean up downtown. Okay, they brought out the brooms and they swept up the streets. Oh boy. I heard there's a big police presence downtown now. That's great. I'm glad to hear it. Should have been done a long time ago. Should have been done when Peduto was supposed to do it, but he never did it. Okay. Brian Lee from Boise, Idaho is supposed to be our new police chief. Reports are out there. But you got Beth Pittinger, who refuses to come on this program, of course. Never returns, again, my emails or anything. I've tried to get her on numerous times to come on here and talk about stuff. Don't want to come on. Okay? So here we are. And Beth says, I think that his behavior, from what I've seen, is unacceptable, and that's true. Okay? City Council now is starting to realize that they've got egg on their face with this hire as well. Because remember, they're worried about plastic bags. And I know what you're saying. Well, every week you say, yeah, the reason I say it is because it's true. They only worry about plastic bags, don't care about nothing else. If they did, half the stuff that goes on in the city wouldn't be going on. Yesterday, or Saturday when I was out, I saw a sign for Anthony Coghill for county treasurer. Isn't that nice? Seems like all the city people who were city council people were now moving on to county jobs that are becoming available. That seemed kind of strange. Ricky Burgess is not running. Woo, wow. I thought he would run just to polish up his ego some more. Corey Mosley's running, and he has no one running with him or against him. I would have loved to have seen that showdown. And of course, you know who I'm rooting for, Corey Mosley. Because maybe a Corey Mosley will return people's phone calls. Maybe a Corey Mosley would, when I hauled you to the carpet at City Council, you might have said, hey, Ralph, let's have a talk after the meeting. No. At least when I haul someone to the carpet, I either get a phone call from them from City Council, or they say, hey, Ralph, how about we sit down and have lunch and discuss it? Okay. But not with certain individuals. That doesn't happen anymore. Okay. That tonight is the way I see it about the city police chief. Next, the 1-year anniversary of Dwayne Haskins. Now, Dwayne Haskins, in case you're not aware, was the Steelers' third-string quarterback. Played for the Washington Redskins for a few years and some other teams. Steelers picked him up. He was down in Florida at Mitch Trubisky's house. Now, Mitch Trubisky's already had one workout, and they're supposedly having a second one coming up this coming week. This was the workout that Dwayne Haskins was at, okay? And he was out on a Florida highway, and he got hit by a dump truck. Well, now there's a lawsuit out. His ex or his widowed wife has filed a lawsuit finally after 1 year. She's filing it against the truck driver of the company. She's filing it against some other people for some other things, which they haven't revealed. Now she's filing it against the clubs, the places that he was at, because supposedly, from what I'm under to the understanding, this was done intentionally to harm him. He was given some kind of drug that caused him to run out of gas on the highway and head to the airport to go get an airplane to come back from Mitch Trubisky's summit at his house. And those of you who don't know who Mitchell Trubisky is, he's our second string quarterback for the Steelers. And, I shouldn't have to explain all this stuff. Most people in Pittsburgh who follow the Steelers should know. But I've come to find out that the Steeler fan base is dwindling because of mediocre Mike, and I'm not going to go there. We're not a sports program here. That's tomorrow night on Sports Corner, 8:30 p.m. Myself, Smoke, and Jim Frazier on our 4 platforms: YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. All right, and now his widow is suing. She's filed a big-time lawsuit against all these different things and entities and people. Why was he out on the highway? Why was he walking and not riding? And why did he run out of gas? She's saying he wasn't at the frame of mind, that he was drunk or he was on some kind of a mind-oriented drug that caused him not to act the way he should act. Is that the case? I don't know. All right. Only 2 people know what happened, God and Dwayne Haskins, and neither one of them are talking. All right. But Mitch Trubisky's having yet another summit at his house where the quarterbacks and wide receivers and the offensive linemen are going to get out of his house. They're going to work out. They're going to say, hello, how are you? Let's have some pizza. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's talk about how mediocre Mike wants us to fail this year. Okay. But they're going to have another one. And let's hope, and I made a joke on Saturday that Kenny Pickett was down there and he slipped on a banana peel and was hurt for the year. April Fools. April Fools. All right, that's the way I see it today. Next, county executives race. As I mentioned earlier, several candidates for county executive. Several candidates. John Weinstein, Sarah Anamato, who, by some chance, will not come on this program. Wouldn't return my email, phone calls, so I had to go through all kinds of hoops. I finally get through the hoops. The guy tells me he wanted to see what the show looked like. I sent him this show. I sent him my one-on-one show, and they don't like it. It's too bad. This is what Pittsburgh has become, everybody. The city where nobody wants to hear the truth. The city where nobody wants to hear somebody like me tell it like it is. Okay? They want the butt kissers. They want the ones that, that are out there all the time going on and on. Yeah, that's what Pittsburgh wants. Or you got to have a deep voice like this in order to talk. Or to get any kind of media job, you have to have this big, deep voice like this. The weather today is 55 degrees here in Pittsburgh. Yeah, you think I'm kidding you? That's where we have come, Pittsburgh. Or we talk like we got marbles in our mouth. But nobody wants to look at me. Nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants my show. Nobody wants me. None of these big-time stations in this town. You're probably saying, Ralph, why do you talk about them? They're nice people. Yeah, they're nice people, okay? They're nice people because you listen to them. They're nice people because they talk about the same thing over and over again. They're nice people because they don't tell it like it is and they don't speak the truth like I do. That's why you like them. County executives race says John Weinstein, Michael Lamb, Dave Fawcett. Seeing the commercials are starting to come up now. Okay? They're starting to badmouth Steven Zapala now. Kennywood opens in about 2 weeks. Kennywood opens in 2 weeks. Is the DA going to shut it down? I don't know. We're going to find out, aren't we? Got this Sarah Honorado running, or Honorado or whatever, running as well. There's about 6, 7, 8 people running for county executive. That's the way I see it tonight. Next, taxes need to be done on the COVID-19 tax. Now, this here is for you lazy people out there, because your COVID tax break is over. The IRS has reported there are less taxes being filed this year than there was in previous years because the COVID tax break isn't there anymore. So nobody has a reason to file for taxes, okay? Because there's no more COVID tax break. Unemployment's gone. Well, we still have 6,000 jobs out there or more that are paying high levels of pay and nobody wants to work. That's where we still are. Okay? That's where we are. The tax people are saying that people are not filing for taxes this year are down from the last few years. Why? Because there's no tax credit no more for COVID. That tax credit is over. The whole thing, the unemployment thing, that's over. Anything related to COVID is over. You're on your own. So now there's not that much filing of taxes this year, which is where we are with this. And we're in a lazy society anyway, so it doesn't make any difference. It just continues and continues and continues. Nobody wants to work. I have someone I know who shares a house with 3 other people. He's waiting to get a third one in, but he shares it with 2 other guys. For a while there, they didn't want to work. Well, now they're working because they found out the hard way. The one found out that getting Social Security disability sometimes can be hard. So what he did was he decided to sit back and wait. He kept fighting and fighting and fighting, and finally gave up, said, I had enough. This would have been probably his most half-dozenth hearing in the last 2 years or more. And then you have this other guy who was, again, on some kind of unemployment for COVID. And his job told him to come on back and got rid of it for him. So now he's back to work, and he's working, and he's doing what he's doing, and that's the way he looks at it. That's the way I see it. But this is why we live in a lazy society and people don't want to work, is because of this. But it's gone now. And it's been gone, and now the tax people are like scratching their heads, couldn't figure out why taxes or attendance or at the tax places. Well, we don't have that many people this year. Well, that's because of that. All right, we're getting ready to wrap up here shortly. Here's some small topics here. Bob Casey running again for a 4th term as senator. Doug Mastriani and Dave McCormick have decided they're going to try to run against him. Good luck. I like Bob Casey. He does for the people. And everybody keeps on saying, well, if you put this guy in, he's for Biden. You put this guy in, he's for Biden. That's not necessarily true. I've seen people vote against party lines. Okay, Bob Casey votes for what he believes in. He doesn't just vote for what Joe Biden wants. All right. That's the way I see it tonight. Anthony Coghill running for county treasurer. I mentioned that earlier. Seen the sign the other day on my way home. Interesting, isn't it? How once again, somebody who was on city council who can't get nothing done from the same area is leaving again. Jim Mochnick left. Couldn't get nothing done. Natalia Rudek left. Couldn't get nothing done. Now Anthony Coghill's gone. And he's leaving too. Bruce Krause is leaving from City Council. Do I need to name any more? Also, the 1-year anniversary was yesterday for that Airbnb shooting that went on. Then they still haven't found the people who did it. And now Bobby Wilson's crying the blues because, according to him, he went to some court and couldn't get an ordinance in for the short-term rentals. Well, you got an ordinance for plastic bags, Bobby Wilson. Why can't we get an ordinance for Airbnbs? Why can't they pay for a part-time rental license or something like that? That's the way I see it tonight. Next. United is cutting flights from Erie to Chicago. Have you ever been to Erie's airport? Well, I go to Erie every summer. I have for the last 3 years. Want to go stay a summer up there, but can't afford it right now. And with what's been going on in my life lately, it's been kind of tough to do. All right. Would love to go spend a summer up in Erie. Their airport's very small. It's like Atlantic City. It's called an international airport, but it's very small. Okay. And here we are. It's a small place, small airport. They have a few flights that go out. It's almost like the Arnold Palmer Regional Airport, who has some flights that go out from Spirit. Spirit's cut some flights from there as well. So United just recently decided to cut flights from Erie to Chicago. Now, I spoke to Erie's executive director online and made some suggestions. Oh, we do what we can. That's all he said. Not, okay, yeah, that's a nice idea, Ralph. Let's try that. You got Spirit Airlines always looking at expanding out there. You got that SunWest that rides that commuter plane that goes from Pittsburgh to Bradford, Johnstown, Altoona. They go to Du Bois. They go all over the state, Williamsport, Lancaster, York, from Pittsburgh International. What? You can't get a flight to Erie? You go to Bradford, but you don't go to Erie. Catch what I'm getting at? But it seems to me that Erie's airport officials are not interested in expanding anything. And if that's the case, then that's sad, because the people of Erie suffer. That's the way I see it tonight. Walmart suing Capital One for not living up to their agreement. Wow, wonderful. Walmart's cutting stores in Portland, Oregon, but are closing down stores, but at the same time, suing Capital One for a breach of contract. All right, this has been The Way I See It. I am Ralph Williams. We're here every Monday night at 7 p.m. Live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Call Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio today for grain hay beef. And it's beef right from the farm. Okay. They have variety packs. They have ground beef, $95 for 20 pounds. All right. There's several ways to get in touch with them. And you can contact them at 740-346-5442 or 740-632-2894. You can email them at hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com. Tell them you heard it here on The Way I See It, as they are our new sponsors. Check out their website, www.hillcrestfarmsohio.com, and also on their Facebook page. You can get some great farm fresh beef right from the cow, right there. It has no preservatives, no antioxidants, none of that, or any of those fancy chemicals or anything in it. And their ground beef prices are cheaper than Giant Eagle or any of them places. So go check it out. Hillcrest Farms, Richmond, Ohio. Tomorrow night, 8:30 p.m., Sports Corner with myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, on our 4 platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. We'll be talking about a lot of stuff in the Pittsburgh sports market. No guests tomorrow night. I had trouble rounding up some. Plus, I got sidetracked last week because of my nephew's funeral and some other stuff. So I couldn't get any guests on for tomorrow night, but it's just Smoking Jim and myself. So Wednesday night, Talking Wrestling, 7:30, same 4 platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. Thursday night, Blog Talk Radio, Wrestle Talk, Wrestling and Sports Talk. Myself, Mark Mancini, Smoking Jim Frazier. And we will be talking about, we'll have a lot to talk about as well in the wrestling world and in the sports world as well. And don't forget Thursday night, that's 7:30 p.m. Wrestle and Sports Talk, 347-205-9631 on Blog Talk Radio. I am Ralph Williams. Have yourself a great night and be safe.